Short story, read video 12. Just to clarify something I said last video, I was confused about singlet. Singlet is actually tight fitting, you know, and tank top is the one that can be a little bit more loose. Okay, don't confuse loose, the adjective, with loose, the verb. Loose has an S sound in the end, right? And lose, the verb, has an Z sound in the end. Okay, so take a look at the definition of singlet. A sleeveless, tight-fitting undershirt or athletic shirt. Okay, and then the other definition is just the same. Okay, let me see if I have questions. I believe I do. First question: describe the bridge that went across the creek. In our last video. Answer. If you have problems, go back to the last video. Right, there were the logs, one meeting the other, and then there would be, you know, a support where the logs met. You know, there was nothing for you to grab, and no support for the hand. Okay. Question: how would you feel crossing that bridge? Don't answer it yet. I don't want you to answer it just with words, okay? I want you to answer it with imagination. I really want you to picture the scene, all right? Because of course you're going to say, I would feel afraid, right? That's the first logical answer, right? But when you picture it, I don't know. I would like details. You know, are you going to try to not look down and then take large steps? Are you going to try little steps? Are you going to try to open your arms to get, you know, some balance? Are you going to look down to the creek? You know, are you going to try to give yourself some, you know, some pep talk, saying, come on, no, it's just a creek, you're not going to die if you fall, you know, it's just going to be inconvenient, right? Are you going to stop in the way? Okay, so all of that, try to picture the scene. That's very important for literature. Let me see if I have... Okay, question. What do toddlers usually do? Answer: they totter, walk unsteadily. Question: in what occasion should you act gingerly? Answer: for example, when you are crossing a bridge like that, right? Or if you are walking on a tightrope. Okay, so let's go on. The two men now are facing each other. I've heard about you. I thought you lived somewhere around here. The skipper followed his host into the little bungalow and sat down heavily in the chair which the other motioned him to take. While Neilson went to fetch whisky and glasses, he took a look around the room. It filled him with amazement. He had never seen so many books. The shelves reached from floor to ceiling on all four walls, and they were very closely packed. There was a grand piano littered with music, and a large table on which books and magazines lay in disorder. The room made him feel embarrassed. He remembered that Neilson was a queer fellow. No one knew very much about him, although he had been in the islands for so many years. But those who knew him agreed that he was queer. He was Swede. First, let's talk about... Well, they were closely packed. I think my books there in that shelf are closely packed. You know, there's no space for other books there. Litter, keep in mind that litter you have in many trash cans in the United States, right? Don't litter, right? Here, let me see if I put a definition for litter. Yes, look, waste material thrown away, but the other meaning that I want is this one. Cover untidily with scattered litter.
Waste material thrown away. V. Cover untidily with scattered litter.
My computer is speaking the word. Yeah, it doesn't help a lot when the definition has the word, right? Covered untidily with scattered litter. But it's like trash, alright? Okay. So there was a grand piano littered, but littered with what? With music. And they say, wow, how poetic, like and you could see music, you know, flowing around. No. Music here, you're talking about the music score, you know, the paper, music sheets, you know, that help you play the piano, for example. So it was littered with music in that sense, okay? Nice. And then we discovered that this guy was considered by everybody to be queer. Be careful. If you Google, I didn't try to Google it, but it's a nice experience. If you Google queer and go to Google image, you're going to find lots of pictures of the gay people, gay community, and etc., right? Because it is more commonly, this word is more commonly used as an offensive way of calling somebody who is gay, okay, a homosexual. It's one of those words that, you know, the community used to describe one another, right? But outsiders couldn't use. Remember, the best example of that is the N word. You know what I mean by the N word, right? It's very offensive. Even to mention the word, even to use the word metalinguistically, to say nigger, right? What I did here is kind of taboo, right? Even though I'm just mentioning the word, right? So we say the N word. But of course, a black guy can use that word very easily. They use it a lot of times, you know, very frequently. The same thing with some words describing, you know, a gay person. You are going to, they call each other, right? They can call each other queer. There is a whole queer culture and etc., right? But you shouldn't, right? If you are heterosexual, you shouldn't. But this guy is not gay, right? Because originally, queer, it means strange, deviating for normal. That's why it's offensive, you know? Okay, so here he's a strange fellow, right? Everybody knew that he was strange, okay? I put a very nice picture to help you remember what queer is. It's a horse, and I hope it sticks to your mind because it stuck to mine. I cannot forget that queer horse. It's very queer. Keep in mind that a Swede is a native inhabitant of Sweden, right? And Swedish is, for example, the language. Okay, all right. So he was a Swede, as I told you. You've got one big heap of books here, he said, when Neilson returned. They do no harm, answered Neilson with a smile. Have you read them all? Asked the skipper. Most of them. I'm a bit of a reader myself. I have the Saturday Evening Post send me regular. Right? You'll find that regular, I didn't put in our dictionary. But we don't have this word, right? Probably we're talking about the mispronunciation of regularly. So he's proving, you know, Neilson, that he is a guy who likes to read as well, you know. He gets the Saturday Evening Post. Sometimes he gets the newspaper. No, more than that, regularly he gets the newspaper. Neilson poured his visit a good stiff glass of whisky and gave him a cigar. The skipper volunteered a little information. I got in last night, but I couldn't find the opening, so I had to anchor outside. I never been this run before, but my people had some stuff they wanted to bring over here. Gray, do you know him? Yes, he's got a store a little way along. Well, there was a lot of canned stuff that he wanted over, and he's got some copra. They thought I might just as well come over as lie idle at Apia. Okay, so he was lying idle at Apia, which is a place, correct? Okay, it's still confusing, but if you read the rest, I think things will clear up. I run between, I think it's Apia. Sorry for the confusing name. I think it's Apia. Okay, that's not that important. I run between Apia and Pago Pago, mostly, but they've got smallpox there just now, and there's nothing steering. Okay, first, nothing steering. I didn't put in our... I put in our list steer, but I put the literal meaning for steer. You are cooking, for example, and then you have to steer what you're cooking. Otherwise, I don't know, it will get burned and things like that. But when you say nothing is steering, nothing is happening. Okay, let's go back in the paragraph. Remember, his original job... Oh, first of all, before I go back and try to interpret the first part with you. Smallpox, right, is very important, mainly if you're talking about something of the past, right? Look, it was an infectious disease called by one of two virus variants, variola major and variola minor. The last natural occurring case was diagnosed in October 1977. Of course, you know that much better than I do. I just got that information on the internet, so please correct me if I'm wrong. In the World Health Organization. And the World Health Organization certified the global eradication of the disease in 1980. The risk of death following contracting the disease was about 30%, with higher rates among babies. Often those who survived had extensive scar, they had extensive scarring of their skin, and some were left blind. So that's very important, right? So look, he runs between Apia or Apia. I promise next video I'll check the pronunciation for that. And Pago Pago. But they've got smallpox there just now, and nothing is steering, right? He can't get any action. He can't access, the places because of the contamination. Now let's go back to the paragraph. Well, there was a lot of canned stuff that he wanted over, and he's got some copra. They thought I might just as well come over as lie idle at Apia. Instead of lying idle there, because he wouldn't be able to do business there, instead of just being there without doing anything. So why not come over and do business with this Gray guy?